Hey guys, SGT here. I'm really pleased to have on the phone again Bix Weir. Bix, how are you?
I'm doing well.
A lot going on in the markets today, and I've been out of pocket, so you're telling me today silver's up again, huh?
Well, it's gyrating. Everybody is, I sense more fear out there in our crowd because the price is, up at its highest point in a while. And a lot of people are scared that the bad guys are going to slam it down again.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting about the way that guys like you and I look at it is that if they were to slam it down, and we all need to keep in mind, too, that this thing is up 100% in 6 months, and, if they were to slam it down, say, 20%, that would be kind of a good body blow, right? Those of us who understand that the CFTC hearing from 2010 in March, in which Jeff Christian admitted to 100-to-1 manipulation, those of us who understand what's going on can only view a body slam to silver as an excellent buying opportunity. Am I right or am I wrong?
That's true, but remember, like we saw when they slammed it from $21 down to $9, when there's the major slams, you might think it's a buying opportunity, but for buying physical silver, it pretty much goes away for the small investor because everybody gobbles up the supply as it's going down, and all of a sudden you hit the price that you want to buy at, and you can't find any silver eagles, you can't find any 1-ounce coins, you can't find any silver.
Well, that's a good point, and I think it just it shines a light on the fact that what we're seeing in the world market is an actual lack of physical silver. The Chinese want it, industry needs it, investors across the world want it. There's reports that folks in India are now fleeing gold to buy silver because it's far more affordable and it's providing a better return. The genie's out of the bottle, and I think for those of us that understand that, and for those of us that read your material, we can quantify the reasons that silver could easily surpass $1,000 an ounce someday in the future.
I would say that's conservative. It sounds crazy, but when you look at all the factors and reasons for one investing in silver, all these things that need to work out of the current suppression of the price of silver, once those things are reversed, you can look at what will each of those individual kind of points, how much will the reversal of that affect the price?
Yeah, well, what's interesting, Bix, is I listen to, and a lot of us listen to, the Eric King interviews, and Eric always has on interesting guests, people in the know. And when he does his weekly metals update, they often talk about near-term tops, and are we seeing any toppiness? What's happening in the buying and the selling? Are you seeing more buyers than sellers? And again, I just like to reemphasize for my audience that, to me, the absolute key, which I think people tend to lose sight of, and I never hear it mentioned very often anymore, is this 100-to-1 paper manipulation. And now for folks who are new to this thing, I want them to understand that what that means is exactly what I'm saying. Adrian Douglas might argue it's 45-to-1, but according to Jeffrey Christian, there are 100 paper ounces of silver and 100 paper ounces of gold in the world markets for every one physical ounce. That's remarkable. Isn't that the statistic we all need to remember, Bix?
I think it's higher than that. It is an important statistic. But that statistic relates more to kind of the end of day, end of month, end of year settlement of contracts. Every day during a trading period, either on the LBMA or on the COMEX, there's much more than 101 ounces of paper silver that's traded back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. They run their computer models. The high-frequency traders run these models that trade back and forth to each other, setting the price. The true fair market value is never really realized. So during the course of a day, you might have a third of the total amount of physical silver in the world traded during one day. But during the course of that day, even more goes. By settlement time, it's okay. Everybody, all the markets will post their open interest and things like that. But during the day, all kinds of trades go back and forth. The relationship between the physical silver, the actual physical metal that's above ground, refined in the kind of form that you can invest in, versus how much is traded every day on the paper market is way more than 100-to-1, and that's on a daily basis. So the numbers are so out of whack that you can, once it breaks down, once this paper manipulation scam breaks down, all kinds of money that used to play in those markets are going to try to get their hands on physical silver, and especially these days where most people are saying at a minimum the supplies are tight, if not, most people are saying that you can't even get large quantities of physical silver. At least it will take a while, like the Sprott Fund took a few months to get not even a huge amount of silver.
Yeah, you make a really great point. For the folks out there that hadn't seen my microdoc called "The Curious Case for 936-ounce Silver," they should check that out, because in that piece you'll hear Adrian Douglas quantify his reasons for there being 45-to-1 paper manipulation in gold, and then he applies that also to silver. Now, I like to use Jeffrey Christian's testimony at the CFTC hearing, which is 100-to-1, but to your point, which is a brilliant one, Bix, there's 350 million ounces of silver being traded on a daily basis when the worldwide mining supply is only 900 million ounces a year. So you're absolutely right. That's an astounding point, so thanks for making it. The other thing I want to run by you is every now and then I'll get emails from folks asking me about, is there really a shortage of silver? Because folks can go to AppMax and folks can go to Gainesville.com or Miles Franklin, and you can buy a monster box if you need it. You can buy 100 ounces. It's always there. There is no shortage, right? That's the perception that I hear people bring up to me in emails. And what I like to point out is the fact that, but there's only one AppMax. There are almost 2,000 Target stores in this country, none of which sell any gold or silver. There's over 3,500 Walmart stores in this country. None of them sell gold. There's only one AppMax. There's only one Gainesville coin. So the precious few of us that are actually buying, sure, you can still get it for now.
Well, that's a great point. And I would add to that the buyers of physical silver is such a tiny community of the entire investment public. If you look over the whole broad spectrum of investors, the amount of people that buy physical silver in the coin form or in the bar form is absolutely minuscule. And even for that minuscule amount of investment demand that people are going out to buy these coins, they're having a hard time supplying the silver. What is going to happen when the news gets out, for example, that the CFTC or the FBI have finally announced their charges against J.P. Morgan for rigging the silver market? What's going to happen when they implement these position limits on the COMEX? What's going to happen is people will start to understand that there was something crazy going on in silver, and then you're going to have added demand. So even with this tiny fraction of the investment public investing in silver, they can't keep up. What's going to happen when people wake up, everybody else wakes up and tries to get their hands on silver?
Yeah, and you've written a new article I want to talk about in a second. But before I do, you are one of the guys, Bix, who inspired me to sell a little bit of my gold to buy a little bit more silver. Now I got a lot more silver than I do have gold, but I sold an ounce of gold at I think silver was back at about, the ratio was still 55-to-1. I sold some more at 45-to-1, and I let that out in some YouTube videos that I had done, and I took a little heat from people saying, oh, if anything, now's the time. Gold's undervalued. You should be selling your silver to buy some gold. And my thesis has been and continues to be that no, we will see a ratio of 15-to-1 as silver reverts to its $5,000 history as a monetary metal. And so now we're down to what? Is it today, Bix, closer to 35-to-1, 36-to-1?
Yeah, I'm working on an article to try to get to the root of the whole gold-silver ratio issue. That issue there, historically it's been 10 or 15-to-1. Well, that was always, it was always a set number based on, because gold and silver were used as money, so they set the ratio. With the U.S., it was set, was it 20 silver ounces buys you 1 gold ounce. So that was a set ratio. All throughout history, when gold and silver were used as money, it was more of a set fiat meaning government mandated type of ratio. But that also corresponded to what they were pulling out of the ground and what was above ground at the time. Now we're looking at a ratio that is completely, it was blown up to 100-to-1 at one point, but the real physical ratio of what is above ground and used as money, there is a lot more gold than there is silver.
Correct.
So, and even going, I keep pushing these farther and farther, trying to break my mindset away from what we see in the market today, because I know it's manipulated and not true, into what is reality. The gold-silver ratio, there's also a lot more gold than people know about. Don't get me wrong, I love gold as an investment. It's the second best behind silver. When fiat money crashes, the world's going to have to go back onto a gold and silver standard.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, what will most likely happen is the U.S. at least will go back to some form of coin backing the dollar. So you can go in and cash your dollar in for either gold or silver. And it'll come down to what is the availability of physical, the real availability of physical in the monetary form. And people will realize at that point that gold and silver ratio, even at 35-1, is ridiculous.
Yeah, and as we look at, which makes silver a bargain as we speak right now. So for people that don't understand why I might suggest, or you might suggest, to sell an ounce or two of gold, to turn that into 35 ounces of silver, it's because the ratio is closing, and the ratio is going to continue to close. And in fact, if you go to SGTreport.com, my website, you will see a daily chart of worldwide silver production and gold production and copper production and palladium and platinum and all the rest. And what you will see in that chart, Bix, which I know you know, is that there is only 9.5 ounces of silver being mined on an annual basis for every 1 ounce of gold that's pulled out of the ground. So that historical ratio that we speak of, I think that's when there was more silver in the ground than there is now.
It's true, although remember that most of that silver, most of the gold pulled out of the ground goes into monetary gold. Most of the silver pulled out of the ground goes into industrial use.
Well, sure, it gets used up. Yeah, it gets used up. So it's even,
I know.
It's even lower
the more you think about it, the crazier it gets.
Yeah, which is why these numbers that you've come out, I mean, if we ever see it return to a 3-to-1 ratio, or maybe where it should be 1-to-1, or maybe it goes even the other way, I know that sounds crazy to people. I know it does. I understand that people might be dubious about what we're saying. You and I both get it. But what needs to be said is that for guys like us that we're saying at 70-to-1 silver to gold ratio, silver is a screaming buy, we're still saying that it's a screaming buy at 35-to-1. And the ratio is already closed by 50%.
And it will continue to close, and people will continue to say it's out of whack until they realize all those other factors that go into the reasoning behind a silver investment.
Hey guys, this concludes this part of my interview with Bix. But stay tuned, because I have a special 2-part interview with Bix posting tomorrow night called The 20 Reasons to Continue Buying More Physical Silver. I want to get it ready for you, so it will be posting tomorrow night. And guys, as always, I appreciate your support and all your comments. Thanks for watching Bix Weir, 1,000 ounce silver is conservative. Good night.